Hi, everyone, and welcome. Can't believe we're at 300 people and climbing, so we'll just give everyone a little bit of time to get started. In the meantime, please join the webinar. I got the link up here with the code, and I've also been posting it in the chat.
Hello, hello, welcome. We are so excited that you are here.
How about that opening ceremony?
Oh my goodness.
That was incredible.
Yes, drop in the chat what you thought about the opening ceremony. Would love to hear what you thought about Eric. I thought he was great. If that doesn't excite you or get you inspired or hit some nerves as a teacher, I don't know what will. I thought he was wonderful. So what a way to kick off camp. Now I'm
Hard
super
to follow.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard to follow to be the session after that. So hopefully we can hold a candle to him. We'll try really hard. All right, the link, I know there's a lot of people dropping in the chat right now, but we are also dropping the link to join the Nearpod in the chat. We would love for you guys to jump in there. If you have joined, we are going to get started here in just a few minutes. If I can find what I need to be in. Raina, if you want, since we have the link in the chat, maybe move on to that collab board. I know we're using the chat, but we also love to use Nearpod. So we are so excited that you are here. Welcome. Camp Engage is one of our favorite events, especially the back to school one, because it's just a fresh start to really hit the school year, starting out with a blast. We just can't wait. So this is one of our favorite sessions. We get to share with you all of the new exciting things that are coming to Nearpod and Flocabulary for this school year. So we want to know a little bit about you. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from. You can do this all on one post. Tell us what you're excited about. What do you hope to learn from Camp Engage? We will kind of use this collab board and wait for a couple others to join before we get started. If you are not sure how to get into the Nearpod or how to add to the collab board, you are going to want to go to the chat and join the Nearpod lesson. There is a link that is being posted in the chat. Oh my goodness, here we go. We've got third, we've got fourth. Gosh, we got people from all over. Awesome.
Got one in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin.
Got
Not too many of us out there.
Good old Lexington, Kentucky right here. Not as cool as Mike up in New York.
I'm not seeing any New Englanders. Where are my New Englanders?
Yeah, I rep New England.
I know. I appreciate that. We're Celtics fans.
Yeah, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, Iowa, Oregon. We got it all covered.
Whoa, whoops, I think I did that. There we go.
See, Delaware, Vegas.
All right. A little bit of everything. Well, thanks. I know there's a lot that we're going to cover in this session, but we love starting with the Collaborate board. It's a great way to kick off a session. It's a great way to kick off a classroom. So think about these little intro activities that you're doing in each session, and think about if you can replicate that in your classroom for the upcoming school year, getting to know your students, having your students learn from one another, talking about what are the best things I did this summer, or just posing questions anytime throughout the school year. So our Collab board is one of our favorite features. We love to go back and look at it after the session and see how many people we had and from where. Love to see people using the images. This is great. For the purpose of time, we will get started. It is 4:02, and we want to make sure that we get through all of our great things. Just so I'm going to move on forward and kick our session off today. So this is one of the first sessions of camp. It's one of my personal favorites, and I know my co-presenters as well. It is the What is New for Back to School with Nearpod and Flocabulary, and we're even going to tease in a little bit of some new items with Renaissance as well towards the end. Couldn't do this without my fantastic colleagues. We have Raina Erickson from who is the director of product management from Nearpod. We've got the talented Mike Judd, who is the senior curriculum manager for Flocab. So if I've got some Flocab people in here and you love all of those videos and all of that creativity, give a shout out to Mike. He's your man. So this is a rock star team. We love having the opportunity to participate in Camp Engage because this is really, our products team's opportunity to really share what they've been working on and talk a little bit about the why we do what we do and what drives our product roadmap and how we use your feedback and we listen to your the things that you need to continue to have better instruction and reach your students in the most meaningful way. So we are so excited and we cannot wait to get started. Few little housekeeping things. We have, if you joined Camp Engage before, you've probably heard this. If you haven't, and this is your first time, welcome. We facilitate all of these sessions through Nearpod because why wouldn't we? It's such a fabulous instructional tool. We're going to use it ourselves. You have the capabilities of taking notes within Nearpod. So if you see the notes tab in the top right corner on your screen, you can click on that. It's going to open up a notes panel where you can type some notes throughout the session. As soon as the lesson is done, it's going to email you a copy of this deck as well as all of the notes that you took. So be a student, be a lifelong learner yourself and take some notes in the app or however you please. So just wanted to call that out. The other two things I want to talk about is you see a Q&A option and you see a chat option. Anything that you have that is a question, you want us to answer it. You are confused or you have a question about one of the product updates we are going over, use the Q&A. We have a little backstage here and I have some awesome moderators from our product team who is managing our Q&A category and they are able to answer and track every question that comes in through the Q&A. If you just want to post some feedback, tell us you love something, give our product team a kudos and just tell us how you're feeling, use the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to celebrate these wins with you. But anytime you have a question and you really need a direct answer, use that Q&A. It's going to be a lot easier for our team to manage the questions there. All right. I think that takes care of the housekeeping in about 5 minutes. So let's keep going. Oops, wrong screen. I guess I introduced my friends. I didn't really introduce myself. So really quickly, I am Bridget McKnight. I am the product marketing manager for Nearpod. So I work with all of base Nearpod all the way up to our B2B school accounts. So anything that has to do with the product of Nearpod, I really work really closely with the product team and making sure that we communicate all of these updates and all of our great tools to you all. So what are we going to cover in this session? We're going to do a quick little flashback and talk about some of the product journey Nearpod has had over the past couple of years. Won't spend a whole lot of time there because we want to get to the good stuff. What's going to come next is we're going to go through the new updates for back to school, and then we are going to cover the new FlowCab updates for back to school. And at the end, we're going to wrap up with some Renaissance sneak peeks and as well as some additional learning opportunities and some suggested sessions we think that you should join to learn even more about these product updates and see them in action. All right, let's get started. First of all, I want to take a minute and just pause. We heard it in the keynote. Everybody's feeling it. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Whether you teach kindergarten or you teach AP history that I don't even want to try to act like I could do or handle. If you are an administrator, if you are a curriculum coach, it doesn't matter what your role is. It is so important in the lives of our students. We cannot thank you enough for the dedication, the passion, and the time you put into what you do. And we truly are here because we love teachers and we think it's one of the most important jobs in the world. We know that you guys know your students best. Our best way to continue to make Nearpod and Flocabulary a better product is listening to our users and listening to our teachers. So thank you for one, everything you do. And thank you for two, everything that you all of the help that you provide us to continue to make our product the best it can be. Over the past few years, you have known, if you've been around for a while, we have gone through a slew of product updates, everything from rebuilding our lesson builder to introducing live teacher feedback and in the moment instruction so we can give teachers or students a boast of confidence or steer them in the right direction if they're struggling. We're constantly expanding our lesson library, both in FlowCab and in Nearpod, to make sure that you have high quality content that you can trust, that is standards aligned to help you streamline your planning and streamline your instruction. So what are we going to do? We're going to keep building on all of the great things we have done. And now we're going to look to where we're going and share what's new for you this school year. My computer, my slides are a little slow. There we go. It's my computer, not you. What can you expect for back to school? Well, first of all, instruction, engagement, students connected. That's what it's all about. Nearpod wants to be that full instructional picture in your classroom. We want you to be able to connect with your students. We want you to be able to deliver high quality content and lessons that you can trust and rely on. And we want you to be able to engage your students in an authentic way. You heard it in the keynote, and we'll say it over and over again. There's a difference between students being engaged and students being active in their learning experience. And what we want to do is we want to have intentional engagement that drives active learning experiences. That's going to drive student outcomes. It's going to drive better student participation and have an overall experience that really is going to help you continue to increase growth in your students from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. How are we going to get there? Through a couple of our content buckets that Raina's going to dive into a little bit more. You know, our product team is very intentional about what they about their product roadmap. And so what are we focusing on? We're focused on content and collaboration, formative assessments. It's a must it's a must. It's a must in the classroom, and it's a must for us here at Nearpod. Reporting, making sure admins have the data that they need, and making sure teachers can utilize the data from their formative instructions in impactful ways. And of course, always coming back to the standards and skill alignment to make sure that you have the content you need that you can find easily, quickly, and make your life a little bit, I won't say easier, but maybe. Okay. So with that, you can see some of our product updates on the side, but I'm not going to jump into them. I'm going to save that for Raina. We are going to go through each one of these product updates. You're lucky. You're going to get the first view. People have not seen these. We internally have access to them, but that's about it. So the best part about Camp Engage and joining this session is you are the first to see them. You are first to have access to them, use them, see them in action, and we are so excited to share them with you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Raina so she can jump into all of the reasons why you're really here.
Thanks, Bridget. And I just want to thank everyone for joining today. We have over 500 users on this call. It's amazing. So I am so excited to share the updates with you. I'm going to start with our first update, which is content curation and collaboration. A mouthful, I know, but it's super important. So Bridget talked a little bit about why we do things, and we're going to talk to you a little bit why we do things. But the short answer of the reason we do things is because of you. If you look here, these are real quotes from our users, from our Candy feedback saying, hey, I want to be able to collaborate. And when we talk to our teachers and we talk to our curriculum coordinators, what they're saying is we're working together all the time. And we can work together in Nearpod, but it's really hard and we wish it was easier. And so we said, well, we can fix that. We can make this better for you. Our goal is to make your life as easy as it can be, knowing all the challenges that you have. So we have this new feature. It is live right now for any school and district user. So you have a school and district license, log in after this call, you can already start playing around with it. And it is lesson co-editing and viewer permissions. And the way this works should be the same as other things you use. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel here. But basically, if you're a curriculum coordinator and you're working on a whole bunch of math lessons and you're working with your fellow curriculum coordinator, you now can both edit the same lesson. Only one person at a time to start, but you can edit that lesson. When you're done, you can let the other person know, and then you can edit it again. And you can edit back and forth as much as you need to get those lessons to a place where you can share them with your teachers. And then the next step is you can share these with your teachers, and you can give them a view-only view, and you can edit the lesson again and again and again, and the teachers are going to get those changes every time they launch a new code. So it's not going to be one of those things where, oh, once I give it to my teacher, I don't know what's happening. Oh, what if they edit and change things? You can give them a view-only view. They cannot edit. They get the changes you want them to have and nothing else. Now, this is not to say that teachers can't also co-edit with fellow teachers. I'm giving the curriculum coordinator as an example, but this is available to teachers, to curriculum coordinators, and other admins to use as they see fit. But the great news is that you can work together collaboratively within Nearpod much more seamlessly than you could in the past. So please check it out. It is for our school and district license users. Our next offering is more than one offering. So I hate to say, we have this one formative offering. What we actually have is a wealth of formative offerings that we're going to be adding to for you this back to school year. And so I'm going to start with what people are asking for when it comes to formative. Now, I know all of you on the call, Nearpod, and you probably say, You already have a formative offering. I use you for a bell ringer. I use you for an extra ticket. I use you for a quick check to understanding. Like, you're great. But what we're hearing where we are falling down and what people were trying to do in Nearpod and not doing it as successfully they wanted to was to create a quiz. People were like, I want to be able to have a whole bunch of Nearpod activities. I want to put them together and I want it to feel like a quiz. And now, like, I can kind of do that. I can put these together, but it doesn't feel like a quiz. It feels like 10 separate activities that I've put together. And I want one cohesive view for my students. And by the way, it's kind of hard to do that way of building it. So like, can you make this easier for me? And so we have made it easier for you. We've enhanced our quiz offering, and we've done this in a few ways. One, we've built a new lesson builder view for quizzes specifically. So I'm going to show you this all in product in a minute. So just tuck this behind your ear. But we have the kind of ability for you to say, I'm going to create a quiz and I'm going to just drag a bunch of activities over to it, and then I'll start editing it. So you don't have to open up the activity picker each time you want to add something. It's a really quick way. And then you can have settings at the quiz level for that quiz. And again, I'll show that to you in a minute. But the idea is we got a new way to build it, and then we have a new experience for teachers and students. So as a student, when you're going in, it's going to feel like a quiz. You're going to be told how many questions you have. If you want to set a timer, you can know how much time you have. And as a teacher, you're going to have a dashboard which you can see the results from all those questions in a singular view if you want to. So that is, the beginning of our quiz offering, but there's more. So in addition to that, we are adding some automatic and manual grading options. Now, you all know we have a lot of automatic options today, right? If you did a multiple choice question, that grades automatically. But what we heard was our draw it and our open-ended questions, like they want to give feedback back to students immediately. And we have live teacher feedback, and that is a huge step forward. But it's not sending to post-session reports. And what teachers wanted was a quick check yes, check no, send to my post-session reports, and give the feedback back to the student immediately so that they know how they're doing on their lesson. And so you can see now we are adding to our automatic and manual grading. We're going to have manual grading for draw it, open-ended questions, and math manipulatives, as well as drag and drop to start. We are going to have automatic grading, though, for drag and drop by the end of the year. So just know that that's coming, but that won't happen right away. You'll see the manual grading to start. And again, I'll show you exactly what this looks like as we go through. So another thing for you to remember right before I show it to you. And then the last piece of our formative offering, I think some of you have discovered this already, I've noticed it. We have student reactions. So if you are now a student and you are seeing that, oh, I didn't do well on my open-ended question, I thought I did, you can now raise your hand, you can do a reaction. Let's say you did great, you can do a celebration. So I actually encourage everyone to look to the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, go ahead and give me a reaction. And you're going to see as a teacher, I can look at my participant list and I can see my reactions. So, hey, you all did this. How do you all feel after we talked about this? And people say, I'm good, I'm confused, I am this. It gives ownership back to the student, right? And the whole point about formative is it's a loop. It's the teacher giving feedback to the student, but student also providing that feedback back to that instructor. And that's what we're allowing with these student reactions. Now, if you want to, you can turn this off. If you're like, this is a little distracting, we have the ability to turn this off. So it is there. But hopefully what you can do is you can find all the ways that this can be very powerful, right? If you're doing a live lesson and you want to know when to change to the next slide because the students are working on a draw, you can say, hey, everyone give me a thumbs up and I'll know when we're ready to move on, right? There's lots of little ways that you can incorporate this into your classroom. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a fun little delighter for me to share. So those are our formative offerings. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go into Nearpod. Well, I'm in Nearpod now. I'm going to go into the other part of Nearpod to show you what this looks like from a building perspective. And then I have a fun little quiz that we're all going to do together, okay? So over here, if you're seeing this, this is my lesson builder. I know you are all hopefully pretty aware of it. I know we got some new people here who maybe aren't. So this is what it looks like when you go to build a fresh lesson within Nearpod. And you're going to see we have a new option to build a quiz right here. It's also within the activity picker. If I want to build a quiz, I can build it right here too. So if I click add, I'm going to add this quiz right here. And then I can go ahead and immediately pick a whole bunch of activities I want to add. I can click this plus button. I can also drag and drop it in here. Now, we're not trying to change anything on you. So when you go into write what your multiple choice question is, this is going to look the same, right? We don't want to add a whole bunch of new for you for just the purpose of new. So these items are still going to be the same. You can edit them the same. The banks will still be there. And so you can go ahead and create that quiz for your students. But the big difference is now they're all nested under this one quiz type, and you can give that quiz a name. And there's a couple settings for your quiz. So you can say, hey, once my students hit this quiz, I want them to go into student pace mode. I got 5 questions here. They can go through those 5 questions at their pace and not my pace, because some might go through them really quickly and some might have ones they need to take a little longer on, and they can decide to do that. So I'll switch them to student pace mode. And when they come to this quiz, I'll just have that kind of setting ready to go. And then I also have the ability to add a timer. So I can say, okay, we're going to do these questions. It's going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to add. Super easy to go ahead and create that quiz. And then I'm going to let you all be students in Nearpod and do your own quiz. So you hopefully are now all seeing what it looks like as a student to do a quiz. You're seeing, hey, there are 3 activities that you've built. And as a teacher, I'm going to switch you all to student pace mode. And I'm going to hit start. And you only have a minute because this is mostly meant to be a demo. So go through it however you'd like to. So I hit start. You can see it's counting down, it's getting you excited to go. And then immediately I'm put into the first question, and you can see, go ahead and answer these questions. If I want to view progress on my dashboard, I can click this and you'll see that's the progress for all 3 questions. So I can see that very easily. Oh, I think my window froze. Hold on. There we go. And then I can go into this next one. And hopefully someone can give me an answer, because if you guys give me an answer, I'll show you how manual grading works. So go ahead and fill out one of these answers for me if you can. And I have to admit, this is just launched live like yesterday. So you are the first viewers of this, which means that if we're seeing any kinks, that's totally why. It's no big deal. The great thing is, by doing this with you all, we're able to kind of make sure that it goes great for your students. So here we are, got correctly found Egypt, and here's where I can add that grade. So I see this little item here, and I click add a grade. And should be dropping down for me in just a minute. As I said, there's a lot of users in here.
They were showing up on mine, Raina, so I think.
Oh, is it? There you go. My web
them.
page has been unresponsive, but
Yeah,
I think
you might just be stuck.
I think I'm just stuck. There we go. So then I can say it's approved. And now as a student, you should hopefully be seeing that there's a new reaction, and you can see that I approved that for you. So now the student is aware that I've approved this item. So now time is up. I can finish going through. I can also, again, click into one of these answers. I can add a grade again. And I can say, oh, that needs clarification. And again, I have this view progress section, so I can view that progress at any time. Now I'm done with that quiz, and I'm ready to bring you all back. So I'm going to turn off student paced mode, and you're going to all come back and staring at my screen again. So last thing I'm going to talk to you about is our admin reporting. This is something that I worked very closely on for the last 6 months, so I'm really excited to share it with you. So for admin reportings, first and most, I'll talk about why are we doing this. We're doing this because we have heard loud and clear from our admins that the reports we have currently are not providing what they need. Admins want to see Nearpod's reach, they want to understand usage, they want to see champions. What I heard really loud and clear when I was talking to admins was, I do a lot of professional development with my teachers, and I want to know what works and how it's working and how I can pair people to have a better implementation of Nearpod at my school. And so that's what we were working on here. So with our new admin reports, we're going to have actionable data for comparing lessons launched, viewing Nearpod activity, and understanding instructionally how your teachers are using Nearpod. You know, are they just using it for a bell ringer? Are they using it for full lessons? You now will know this as an admin with our new admin reports. So again, I'm going to jump into Nearpod and I'm going to show you a demo. Now, this is the only item I'm showing you that is not live for you all right now. Internally, it's live for me, but you should not be seeing this. It's not coming until this fall. So here I've got our new admin reports. You can find it by going over to the reports section. So it has been moved. And this is all fake data. So don't worry, I'm not showing any PII by showing this. If the numbers look really wonky, it's because it's fake data. So you can see this is our new reports page. And over here, you can see the overview of your active schools. So if you're a district and you have a whole bunch of schools, you're going to see which schools are active, and you are going to probably have some inactive schools. And what I always say to people, and what I often hear is like, this doesn't usually surprise my admins. When I talk to an admin, they're like, well, I have a vocational school. I would never expect them to use Nearpod. I don't even think I told them that they had access to Nearpod. And so a lot of times with data, the numbers look roughly what you'd expect. It's when they aren't what you expect, that's when you want to dig a little deeper. I expected more schools to be active. Did they not know they have this? Should I be doing something to make sure that more schools are activated on a Nearpod? That's what you kind of want to be doing with this data. So you have your active schools, you have your active users, you have your student joins. You can change the date range of this if you'd like to. And so with our active users here, we have a nice little list where you can see who are your top users month over month. And this was another conversation I had with an admin who was like, oh, I have the same 2 people who fight for first place every month. You know, I know who my top users are, and they're the ones I always have do Nearpod training for when I have new people come in who don't know Nearpod. So you can see this, and you can see usage month over month. And often, again, this usage is probably pretty cyclical. It's not going to super surprise you a lot. You know, you're going to see dips around the holidays. You're going to see ups around like testing. You're going to see these things, but you'll get a better sense of your usage over time. You're going to have your sessions launched too. This was a big requested item. I really want to know, what are my teachers doing below participation? What are they doing student pace? And, you know, when are they showing a video that's front of class? So, and then the last item we have here is activities submitted. That was another big thing. Like, I know Nearpod's magic is in its activities. How are activities being used within my implementation of Nearpod? So each of these graphs is a jumping off point that then sends you to one of these tabs. So you'll see each of these graphs again when you go into each tab. So if I want to know more about active users, I go into the active users tab, and you'll see we got some new cards here that has the district NCEs, the total active users, and your inactive users. If you're a school that auto rosters, you will probably see inactive users, because what we've found is a lot of times people roster people way more than all the teachers at their school. We've seen custodians, bus drivers, lunch people. And so you might see that and be like, that number's high, but we have a way for you to check to see if that number is actually high. So if you scroll past this graph that you saw before, you have an active users table. So you can look at all your active users, but you can also toggle over to your inactive users. So if you want to see, why is this number so high? You can see exactly who is inactive within your schools and then confirm if that's the right number. And again, maybe it's not. And that's where you want to drill in and see what you can do for training. So here you can see they only have one person in this mock demo, but you can see this person, you can see all of their usage broken down in a nice little table here. Over to our lessons tab, this is to answer the question of, you know, what are my teachers, like, okay, I know teachers are using Nearpod, but what are they using Nearpod to do? And so you can see the sessions launched, and then you get a little bit more understanding of what's going on within Nearpod. So average slides in a lesson. If this number is really high, people are teaching a lot of lessons. If this number is really low, people are teaching a lot of short engagements. So maybe it's a bell ringer or an exit ticket. Neither one's bad. It's just what type of engagement you're doing in your school and what you're trying to advocate for. You know, what are your average activities in a lesson? Are there a lot? Are there a little? Depends on what you're doing. It depends on how many lessons you're doing in a row, etc. What are your student joins? You know, what's the average size of your classroom? Is that about right? You can see lessons launched by subject. So this is great for curriculum coordinators who are there saying, oh, I spent all this time building this lesson that I co-edited and I put it in my school and district library. Are people downloading it? I know I want to know that people are downloading the things that I'm curating for them in my school and district library. You can see if lessons are launched and downloaded by school and district library, if they're utilizing the Nearpod library, and, you know, if they're creating their own content. And then our last tab over here is our activities tab. This is what magic are they using? What's the special ingredients in their special sauce? And so you can look at here, this is our activities submitted, and you can see, you know, what your activities are that people are using. And so I say, like in this case, we have a lot of different activities, right? That's the power of Nearpod. you're going to want to see just a kind of a little bit of every color in this graph. You're using a little bit of every color. It means you're using a lot of different activity types. If you noticed people were only using maybe our multiple choice and that's it, well, you're probably not getting the full value of Nearpod, because Nearpod is so much more than multiple choice questions, right? And that might be an opportunity for reteaching, saying, hey, there's so much more here that you can discover. And then if you scroll down here, you can see again how your activities are breaking down by lesson. So you have a lesson with a 1 slide, that's probably your bell ringer. You have lessons with a few activities in here, that's probably a standard lesson. If you have one with 6+ activities, that might be a lesson that like takes place over the course of a couple days or a course of a day. You know, you're spreading it out. So none of this is good or bad, but it just helps you understand how it's being divided. And then the last thing we have down here is your activities and your usage. So you can see again your top used activities versus your lesser used activities, so you can understand, you know, what that spread is at your classroom. So those are our Nearpod reports. I want to point out your post-session reports are still here. We didn't take them away. They're just now over in this tab. So if you're looking for reports with a Nearpod, you're going to click this reports button now instead of manage Nearpod, and you'll come in here and you'll grab all of this. And this is for district and school admins. If you're a teacher, you're only going to see your post-session reports. So you won't see this. It is for the admin role only. And I said you can drill in and see all this at the school level as well. So back into our Nearpod lesson, I believe that wraps everything I had, but I will pass it over now to Mike Judd, who is going to talk about all things vocabulary.
Yes, that's right. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Thank you so much, Raina. Very exciting stuff.
Mike, I'm gonna pause you just for a minute.
Please, yeah, please do.
Just a little, again, there's some housekeeping too. We do, especially in the product ones where not everything is maybe live to you. We do demo it. So if people were stuck and were seeing the demo screen, come back to the Zoom screen, and Mike will make sure to call that out when he demos his some of his things. But if you are seeing it stuck on the Nearpod, come back to the Zoom and you will kind of see what the presenter's doing. We bounce back and forth between screens because some stuff we can't show you in the product right now. So hopefully that's helpful. There weren't too many issues, but just wanted to call that out real fast.
Thank you, Bridget.
Absolutely.
Yes, I will do my best to give a heads up that we're jumping back and forth. We're only going to do it once, so I'll make sure I give a heads up. So, what's new for back to school with vocabulary? I'm going to be focused on one major thing that we're adding to vocabulary. The vocab library continues to grow. We have a ton of content, a really, really big library, and that library has a bunch of new content as well for this school year. But with that huge library, we wanted to give teachers a way to customize vocabulary for themselves and to meet their own needs in their classroom. So what we're doing, and this has been kind of a long time coming, is we're launching playlists on vocabulary. So this is super exciting. I've been working at vocabulary for 6 years, and it's been something we've wanted to do, and it's so we're really pumped that it's finally happening. So again, why are we doing it? Because of people like you. We get a lot of requests, but there's kind of 3 reasons if I had to zero in. We want to better align to instructional units by making sort of a central hub where teachers and students can return to over the course of a unit of study. So whether that's for a week of instruction, a month of instruction, or an entire semester, this will have a unique place where students and teachers can go back to. Second, we want to have a mechanism for teachers and students to access the songs that they love and listen over and over. So repetition promotes memory and stickiness. Some teachers have some favorite vocabulary songs that they want their students to hear over and over, and some students have some favorite vocabulary songs that they want to listen to over and over. And then third, it's a common request for both of those reasons. So people have asked us for ways to curate vocabulary for themselves. So we want to be able to support teachers in giving them a place that they can go back to throughout a unit of study. And then also, maybe play some background music during their classes, because, I'm personally biased, but I think some of the vocab songs make some great classroom soundtrack. Let's get into what this all looks like. So we're going to cover 3 different types of playlists that are there. I'm going to start with 2, and then I'll bring in the third one a little bit later. So the 3 types we have, there's going to be teacher created playlists. Those are manually created playlists that a teacher can take any video they have access to in the Flocabulary library and create a playlist using it. We also have a small set of Flocabulary curated playlists. Those are tied to certain instructional sequences, certain popular topics. So we went ahead to get people's creative juices going to start creating their own playlists and made a set of our own to just show you what's possible. We're going to go in and actually demo it live. So you'll actually see what I'm talking about shortly. But, why are we doing this? We want to increase word exposure, right? When it comes to teaching vocabulary and ultimately working up toward comprehension, we want students to be exposed to vocabulary terms multiple times in multiple contexts. Vocabulary already did that quite well. And what we're doing is we're kind of ramping that up with an opportunity to do it in a more simplified and streamlined way. And then we also want to simplify planning. We want teachers to be able to put the lessons that they're teaching all in one place. We want them to be able to navigate vocabulary more seamlessly and also assign to students and have students be able to come back to certain playlists that they're working on. Again, we're going to get into looking at this. So this is a lot of preamble at the moment. Now let's get into that third type of playlist that we were talking about. This is really exciting. So the third type of playlist. So, let's say you're not feeling like you know exactly what you want, or you're not totally finding one of the Flocabulary curated playlists that we recommended that makes sense for your particular lesson. We're launching AI-powered playlists on Flocabulary. So teachers are going to be able to enter a prompt for an instructional unit they want to teach. And then within seconds, our AI model is going to generate a playlist of standards aligned vocabulary lessons to fit whatever curriculum you're looking for. This is a rolling release throughout August. Early August is the time frame that it'll be available for Flocabulary Plus licenses. I just want to make clear, the manually created and the Flocabulary curated playlists are available to all licenses, and the AI-powered playlist will be available to Flocabulary Plus licenses. So enough talking about it. Let's actually get into looking at it. So I'm about to switch. So everyone come back to the Zoom. We're no longer in the Nearpod. I'm going to be sharing my screen. So here I am. I'm at the logged in Flocabulary homepage. Up in the top nav, we have playlists as a whole new section. As you can see, it's new, very exciting. So this is what you'll be confronted with when you're looking at playlists. Let's start with those Flocabulary curated ones because they're right here to get you going. So as you can see, we got some in ELA, math, science, social studies, life skills. I think one of my favorites is this one, genre study poetry, right? So we kind of built out something to start, what is poetry, types of poetry, and then we get into literally analyzing and looking at the poems themselves. Just to show a little bit, students will be able to see a lesson preview, go to the lesson itself. So the way that these playlists play is back to back, playing each video in order, right? And you can click through and you can move along. But it's also a great hub in order to be able to go to the full lesson. So let's say I really love this playlist. I want to save it and I'll go back to my playlist page. So now I have this playlist. These Flocabulary curated playlists are customizable by teachers as well. So I can decide, now that I've brought this into my playlist library, I can remove lessons. I can add lessons to it. I can change the title, edit the playlist details, change the subject, grade range, so on and so forth. But I'm going to go back. Let me actually get rid of this one. And it's very easy to delete the playlist, right? So we can edit the details, we can delete it, we can adjust. It's all about customizing the library. These are just a starting point for educators. Create a playlist myself, similar thing. Let's just do Camp Engage. I'll say test. And you'll get into a playlist creation experience in which you can go through and grab lessons from across the board and make your own playlist. Again, I'm gonna move along from that. Okay, let's look at the AI playlist. So the AI playlist is we're really excited about it. So here's this other button here in the playlist experience. So let's say we're going to create a playlist with AI. So I'm going to go ahead and type in a prompt. This can be anything. This can be something copy and pasted from a lesson plan. This can be a standard, so much. There's going to be a lot to test for all of you. So let's do Polygons Elementary School. So I'm going to hit generate playlist. And so here's what we have. It's populating a playlist based on the prompt that I put in. So we have starting with basic shapes, covering geometric shapes with a Nearpod original video. And what you can do here is you can get rid of some of these videos if you want during this process. But let's say I like what I've been given. I can save and edit the playlist. And then once again, I'm back in a situation where it's up to me to either continue to customize or to use what I've been given. So again, I can edit the playlist details. I can change the name, the description. I can jump into full lessons. I can add more lessons, and I can remove lessons that I don't think make sense. So let's just do one more. I think one of my favorite units way back when I was in school, I think let's do grade 6 early civilization. That's a pretty common unit here. So let's see what we can come up with. If I can spell civilization right. Let's generate, see what we have. Okay, looking pretty good. We got Neolithic Revolution, big for, pre-agricultural societies. But then I'm seeing, okay, Middle Ages Africa, maybe not the fit. That's a little later. Some teachers might keep it, but I can get rid of it in real time. Save and edit. And again, right back to dealing with my own playlist. I can share this with my students. It has a unique URL that can be saved and passed along, returned to throughout a unit of study, or I can continue to customize until I have what's exactly perfect for the unit that I'm teaching. Okay, everyone, I'm going back to the Nearpod for one more slide. Oh, demo time, as you saw. This is our first step into AI on Flocabulary. And as we do, we want to make sure that we're doing this in a really intentional way. And we just want to, make clear that in this experience, there's always a human in the loop. Teachers have full control over what's being created. This feature is teacher facing only, so it's not available on student accounts. Teachers are the ones who are creating these playlists using the AI. Whether a teacher decides to create an AI playlist in front of class, that's their prerogative, but it's not available on student accounts. And then districts and school will have the ability to turn it off. Not every school is diving headlong into AI in the classroom. We understand that's totally fine. There's the ability to turn off that particular feature and function. So that just about does it for playlists. I'm really excited. I'm a Flocabulary rapper myself. I need to work on all the songs that I've ever done on my playlist. I have no idea how many that is. But I'm really excited, and I think it's going to be a really huge step for teachers to be able to, make Flocabulary their own, whether they're familiar with what's available in the library or not so familiar. There's a lot of different entry points for it. So I'm going to unshare, I believe. Cool, and that does it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. That was fabulous. I saw so many good things in the chat for a lot of our Nearpod updates, a lot of our Flocab updates, especially the playlist and the AI. One of my favorite comments might have been yay for AI. I have never said this before, and that just put a smile on my face. That's what we like to hear. So we are very, to Mike's point, very intentional on doing this the right way and keeping teachers at the center and human at the center and keeping everybody in the loop on that. Raina, if you don't mind, do you mind to share your screen again and for Alec and I to kind of wrap us up?
Yeah, awesome. So I have one more exciting update to share, and this is coming from our friends with Renaissance. So this is a Renaissance brand new experience that's coming out for the school year. Maybe you've heard about it. If you were at ISTE and you stopped by our booth, I'm sure you heard about Renaissance Next. But if you didn't know, Nearpod is a part of the Renaissance family. We have been with them since about 2020, and Renaissance has tons of great products. Maybe you're already using some of them, so maybe drop it in the chat if you're using anything like Star Assessments, Freckle, Alilo, Mayan, Accelerated Reader, tons of great products that are really excellent on their own, right? So you have products for assessment, you have products for literacy, you have products for instruction. That's where Nearpod and Flocabulary come into play. But we know that these products become even more powerful when they're actually connected and they're working together in some capacity. So Renaissance Next is really that first step in making these connections. So it's going to be a brand new teacher dashboard that uses your assessment data from STAR assessments, practice data from like Freckle and Lalilo and Mayan, and it's going to use how they're performing in those platforms to give you a really quick snapshot into how your students are performing. And it's going to group them by, okay, what students are struggling and need some extra help, which students are ready for additional challenges, what students are performing where they're expected to be performing. And once you have that data, we're going to be able to give you these really actionable recommendations for what you should be doing next for either that individual student or that group of students. And that's where Nearpod comes into play. So if you have access to Renaissance Next, you're going to be receiving recommended Nearpod resources. So that could be a full lesson, that could be a video, that could be an activity for these groups of students based on how they're performing on the STAR, on Freckle, Lalilo, Mayan, etc. So for the first time, really, you're getting these recommended Nearpod resources based on student performance. And that is really a huge step for us. And a really powerful new way to actually use Nearpod and use the resources available in Nearpod. So that is a quick overview of what Renaissance Next is. And there's a few ways to learn more. So one, tomorrow at 6 Eastern, there's going to be a session with Gene Kearns and Ron Carroll that you can attend, and they're going to be talking through kind of the use cases for Renaissance Next and how you can use this to differentiate your instruction in new ways. And then there's also a webinar coming up that Bridget's going to highlight here in a couple of seconds that you can join. And we're really going to do a deep dive into Renaissance Next and all of the updates coming for the Renaissance products. So if you are one of those people that are using other Renaissance products, I highly suggest attending one of those webinars, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about how Nearpod works with these other products. Maybe your school is looking at Freckle or Lalilo or something. Definitely check this out. You'll be hearing more of what Renaissance Next is, how it's going to help you as a teacher, and learn more about what's coming for all those other Renaissance products.
Awesome, Alec. Thank you. And I'm seeing so many people dropping into the chat that they use some of these great Renaissance products. Literally accelerated reader. I mean, I remember when I was in school, like it's been way back when. So, so many of you, hey, we have Renaissance, Mayan, Lalilo. If you are not familiar with, you didn't realize that we were under the Renaissance umbrella. Now we are, and it's very exciting. And Renaissance Next is kind of taking that next step to bridge Nearpod with some of the other great products they have. So how can you learn a little bit more about what Alec was just talking about? I'm going to jump down to kind of the bottom of this slide. Like he said, there is a session tomorrow, Streamline Instructional Planning with Renaissance and Nearpod. It's going to kind of take you through that. The presenters are fabulous. Before we move on to diving into deeper with that, I also wanted to highlight some awesome camp sessions to check out. So we just went through a lot of new product updates. Some of you might be in this session and you're like, I just signed up for Nearpod yesterday, or my school just got it last year. I didn't really dive into it yet. And some of you might be pros, but you don't know these new features yet. So we wanted to make sure that we sent you away with some great sessions to think about joining in the next couple days that are going to highlight these features and these that we just went over, and give you a little bit more in action, how to use them, how to build with them, how to create with them, how to dive deeper into FlowCab playlists. So all of these sessions will highlight either multiple updates or focus in on one being Nearpod's new quiz experience. It is a new way to think about quizzes. I saw in the chat a lot of you saying, I love this. Now I can, in one quiz, add a multiple choice question, add a drawlet, add a poll, add an open-ended question, all in one quiz for my students. My students are going to be able to navigate through it more easier. So, hey, maybe you want to dive into how does that work, or have some time to actually build a quiz maybe build many quizzes. And so they are ready for you to go on the first week of school. Some could just be some fun, get to know you ones. Some could be some that you're using for content down the road. So definitely check out that one. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be very hands-on. You're going to learn how to build. Increase student to student and teacher to student interactions using Nearpod. That's a great one to learn more about our live teacher feedback, as well as our student reactions, and as well as how to incorporate, how can I in the moment connect with my students, give them the positive reinforcement they need, or redirect them in their learning. You know, how can I help them get on the right track? How can I give them the support and the, hey, you're doing a great job. So that's going to dive into that. If you are one of our school and district accounts, we definitely recommend checking out you have a school, Nearpod school and district library. Now what? We've made lots of updates to our school and district library over the course of the end of last year into the back to school of how you can kind of organize and move things around. So we really dive deep in that session of how you can utilize that school and district library and get the most out of it. So great session, totally recommend checking it out. Flocab sessions never disappoint. Well, no session does, but harness the power of Flocabulary Plus, learn all about those AI playlists. Hip Hop Pedagogy and Flocab is also a fan favorite. So we wanted to leave you with some suggestions. Remember, I know people are busy. It's still summer, or you might be back in your classroom. If you cannot attend all of these sessions in person, do not panic. Don't worry. Everything is recorded. You can go back and watch these on demand. Let's say you're here with a few of your teachers, but you've got a lot of colleagues that weren't able to register or on vacation this week. Hey, give them a little tap when they get back and say, there are some awesome sessions. Go back and rewatch them. Remember, they get PD credits for them as well. Same thing with your admin. If you attend the school and district library session and you think, man, there's some great stuff on how we should set up our school and district library, I want my admin or my curriculum coaches to watch this. Hey, they're there for you to rewatch and support your colleagues who can't be here. All right. Moving along, there are also some additional learning opportunities. So again, if somebody couldn't join today, we are going to do in the first week of August another What's New for Nearpod live webinar. So that's going to be on August 8th. The only difference is we have some of these great rock stars that are here today, but we're also going to be pulling in our Vice President of Product, Vanessa, and she is fantastic. So she's going to join us on that session as well. So again, just another really behind the scenes look at what we're doing here at Nearpod, these new updates, where we're going. So we encourage you to join that one. If you are one of those people who have Renaissance and you have all of these tools, but you don't know much about Renaissance Next or how all of these can connect, we recommend there's a Renaissance webinar in August. That would be great to join as well, 2 times for the East Coast or the West Coast. And that's really going to dive into their back to school updates and really hone in on what's new or that Renaissance Next component. All right. Sorry, what screen are you guys seeing? Here we go.
See your Nearpod.
You do? Okay. My other one's on the collab board, but it's not switching over here. There we go. Maybe not. All right. Sorry. Whew, we did pretty good on time, guys. 4:50, not bad. Want to kind of pause for a minute, take a beat and recap. We went through some really exciting product updates that we're excited about, but we also want to hear from you. Tell us a little bit, like we said at the beginning, we thrive off feedback from you all. Oh, I love seeing all this come in at once. We want to know, what did you like? What are you excited about? What was the best thing you saw in today's session? How can you use it in your classroom? This really gives us some ideas on what we are excited about. The news quiz feature, live grading, love the playlist. Oh, I'm super excited. As a former teacher who also taught on Nearpod, I can say I would be super excited about the new quiz builder. The AI playlist with Flocab are amazing, but I also love the ability with the quiz feature to have that aggregate data. You know, we say over and over again as teachers, there's nothing more important than having some insights in the moment during instruction to see where your students are. So now with things like, you know, having that aggregate data for all of my activities in one place, I can redirect. being able to tap a student and have a little bit of a live interaction with the student in the moment to redirect them. Hey, now I'm making instructional decisions that are redirecting my students in the moment. Raina mentioned it earlier. It's building a little bit of accountability for the students. If they know where they are and they know they're struggling, hey, it's on them a little bit to also, I need help, or what can I do? How can I practice? So it's again, keeping it's that relationship with students to teachers and teachers to students, and really helping at the end of the day, deliver that high quality instruction for better student outcomes. All of these updates drive back to that goal, and we are super excited for what's to come this school year. If they're, so I'm reading through some of my colleagues, my other presenters. If you see anything that you want to jump in and call out before we leave, there also will be, and I think our moderators might drop it in, at the end of every session, there will be a feedback form. If somebody can grab that form and to the link to that form and maybe drop it in the chat, that would be great. Just a little heads up, a little note in case you didn't, no one tells you this. The feedback form is the same for every session. You just have to choose the session that you are leaving the feedback for. So if for some reason later you think you missed a form, you can always use the same link. Just choose the session that you're giving feedback for. If you have a moment, we love reading through those. We love to know if this was valuable, if you found it impactful, what you're excited about, because each year we try to make Camp Engage better and better to serve you, our users, and truly the people that are at the heart of why we love our jobs and why we do what we do. Anybody? Sorry, I'm looking through this really quickly. Love all of these, the feedback. We might be able to give you a few minutes of your time back unless anybody has some questions on my panel team. What I would recommend, complete that survey, jump back into the lobby, go through all of the sessions are listed on that lobby screen. If there's one that you want to make sure you don't miss, you can click a little bookmark and it will save that session in your list. So attend as many as you can, take advantage of the next couple days. It really is one of our favorite event of the year. We love seeing the motivation, the inspiration, and teachers just working together, collaborating, and just the passion to show why you do what you do never goes unnoticed. So with that, I think I'm about wrapped up. Thank you so much to my colleagues who helped this presentation, to our product team, who we wouldn't be here without them. And thanks to all of you. We couldn't do this without you. I hope you guys have a great camp. And if I don't see you in another session, oh wait, we are doing this session again. So if somebody else wants to join, we have it tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see you at the closing ceremony.